By now, everyone knows Choir of One is good, but let me show you with a build which will get you the absolute most out of it. With this setup, you'll be able to benefit from all catalyst effects at once, spreading volatility, a never-ending mag, and increased fire rate. But for which catalyst you should actually be running once everything is unlocked, it's absolutely Onslaught. It is the only one to offer a direct DPS increase, and it's very substantial. At max stacks, the weapon will be firing 37% faster, taking Choir of One from 225 RPM to 357, and this turns out to be a 58% DPS increase. Not bad at all, especially considering this also applies to the shotgun mode hipfire spread too. From previous testing, I've already calculated that the mag of hipfire will deal around 294k against the boss target, and at base fire rate will take about 1.1 seconds. But with Onslaught times 3, this is now only 0.7 seconds, which brings this weapon's single mag DPS to 424,000. Obviously this is good, and the ADS mode only gets better with higher fire rate as you are able to move between targets quicker, and this is just what you need to do to build these stacks in the first place. However, that build I mentioned, here is how to turn a Choir of One into an absolute machine. The first thing you want is Prismatic Hunter, and one of the following, an exotic class item with Spirit of Gyrfalcon, or if you don't have this, the base Gyrfalcon will work too. A lot of it is quite customizable, but there's a few things you absolutely want. Stylus Executioner is a must as a method of looping invisibility, and Ascension is also highly recommended as an arc aspect or ability is needed in order to become amplified, which is highly beneficial, and also just the fact that this aspect also instantly applies amplified on cast. The Gyrfalcons is what allows for the return of destabilizing rounds, but in a much stronger effect. Instead of having a volatile explosion on final blow with a pesky 3-second cooldown, instead you'll have volatility for 8 seconds on every shot after exiting invisibility. And getting into invisibility is so easy due to Stylus Execution. Any enemy affected by an elemental debuff will trigger this. So Ascension, any grenade or melee ability, and most importantly the volatile itself will loop this. Once initially activated, this effect will just keep feeding into itself, meaning you will have 100% uptime on volatile rounds, or extra AoE potential. And for a subsistence replacement, everyone right now running Choir of One should be running targeting autoloader. It would be truly insane not to. Not only does this increase base damage on chain kills, but each defeat will also partially refill a magazine in exactly the same way as subsistence. Except this effect also ramps up should you defeat multiple enemies. Now I know what some people might be thinking here, but this is just a temporary thing. What about after this episode? And thankfully rapid reloads can still be achieved thanks to Onslaught. Alongside faster rate of fire, it also provides additional reload speed up to plus 35 at 3 stacks. And since this is a fully craftable weapon, adjustments can also be made to maximise reload. Currently I focus exclusively on range, but from next season onwards, I will adjust to this setup instead. But for now, I'll just go crazy with targeting autoloader, as this single-handedly makes the Choir just incredible. But onto the rest of the build itself. When making it, my goal was to be effective as possible in high-end content, especially while solo. Think Master Lost Sectors or even GM Nightfalls. So my choices were selected to thrive in these kind of environments. For grenade and melee abilities, I like to use darkness options, and this is because of a large amount of light transcendent energy generated by the Choir of One alone. Some balance is required if you want to frequently enter Transcendence, and this is an easy way to do so. Threaded Spike is also a fantastic way to apply elemental debuff to targets in order to activate invisibility, as is the slowing effect created by Duskfield. Running darkness weapons in your kinetic and heavy slot can also help balance transcendent energy too. Though typically I don't really aim for this and instead just go for the best weapons to suit the situation, which usually ends up being Supremacy in the kinetic slot, and a powerful rocket such as Apex Predator or Crux Termination in the heavy slot. Another thing is ammo economy, especially with the reserve nerfs coming in the next few weeks. But even post change, the Choir of One is honestly the most ammo abundant special option out there is. In any activity where rally banners are available like raids and dungeons, or in just a not too long activity such as Master Lost Sectors, don't really worry yourself about ammo economy at all. Run a reserve mod and special ammo finisher if you are worried, but realistically you can just stack surges and go all out on the offensive. In more ammo scarce activities, which the only one I can really think of which absolutely warrants this is GM Nightfalls, you can instead run an ammo generation focused armor setup. The key parts here being charged up stacks on stacks and special finisher, and for orb generation, Reaper, Void Siphon and Heavy Handed. With this, each orb of power collected will grant you 2 armor charges, and you'll be able to hold a maximum of 4. For 3 armor charges, you can perform a finisher and generate a special ammo brick each time. That means that after a finisher you will still have 1 armor charge remaining, so 1 more orb pickup will allow you to generate yet another special brick. This loop was enough to sustain special ammo even while in a solo GM activity, and running double special. To make this ammo generation build even better, I was fortunate enough to roll Spirit of the Assassin alongside Gyrfalcons on the exotic class item, which has the benefit of activating invisibility on any finisher, but this isn't the only strong pairing. If you have Immerse Light, Galanor or Renewal as column 3 options, these are all very strong in their own ways. For fragments on this build, I went with options which benefit survivability and ability looping. Protection for a flat damage resist while near enemies, purpose to gain damage resist on orb pickup, and this one links directly to your equipped super which is also quite flexible. Tether will give a Void Overshield, Silence and Squall will give Frost Armor, and Silk Strike will give Woven Mail. Most of the time I will just recommend Silence and Squall for the simplicity, though Silk Strike does provide the most damage resist per orb pickup. Hope improves class ability regen when the elemental buff is active, and since Ascension provides the elemental buff in Amplified, you can just loop this one forever. Balance will return melee energy on light multi-kills, which is very frequent with Choir of One, or grenade energy with Darkness ability multi-kills. Sacrifice will provide additional Dark Transcendent energy on ability kills, which helps maintain Transcendent balance. Finally, at least for the remainder of the season, here's the artifact mods you do not want to miss out on. Sustained Fire and Targeting Autoloader are simple but effective auto rifle buffs, and are the first things you should be selecting when using any auto rifle. Galvanic Armour is another incredible option right now, providing damage resistance whenever amplified, which is especially helpful in harder content. Radiant Orbs is another general improvement mod, but this time providing Radiant whenever an Orb of Power is collected. This build naturally generates a lot of orbs, so this one's a great fit. The final column mods you will want here is a combination of Shield Crush and Transference. Shield Crush is an all-round improvement to abilities, uptime and damage, whilst Transference improves abilities whilst transcendent. You could use Overload Auto Rifle too should you want to, especially since it always overcharges auto rifles in activities with that modifier. But if you are in an activity with barrier champions, be aware that using this mod will actually lose the ability for Choir of One to pierce barriers while radiant, so it's not always the best choice. So that's everything for this one. Choir of One is amazing in all content across the game, and maximising its potential really proved to me it's up there with the best. And it's nice just to see a non-melee focused prismatic hunter build for a change too. Thank you for watching.